No one wishes that.
George! I will stand with you between the heavens and the earth. I will tell you where you are. Do you love me?
I love you!
And there it is. I mean, what is there left? I mean, this entire episode, it starts wrecking you from this moment. And then it continues to wreck you as we go. Salute, friends. Hello. Welcome to the very last episode of Queen Charlotte, my reaction video. And before we jump into talking about it, as always, remember to like and subscribe. And I just want to say, guys, I've already taken a shot. I'm feeling a little tipsy, and I want to say thank you for continuing to watch me as I watch these shows and be very silly and very vulgar and very whatever. I just appreciate you guys a lot. I don't actually know when Bridgerton season 3 is going to come out. I'll just do some research real quick. Guys, there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there on the release date of season 3 of Bridgerton. I don't really understand what's happening. I know they've already wrapped on filming. I feel like they probably wrapped on filming a little while ago. I don't know. I don't have the highest hopes for this coming up season. Love to know your thoughts on how you guys are feeling about how you think season 3 is going to go. I'm not going to lie. I would love to be pleasantly surprised. I've said this a million times. Book 1 was bad. Season 1 of Bridgerton was better than the books. Season 2 of Bridgerton, the TV show, wasn't great. Anthony's book 2 was fantastic. I'm hoping they just do flippy flops, right? Like if the source material is not that great, then they improve upon it. As far as the book goes for book 4, which is Penelope and Colin's season, Colin is not the greatest. Penelope fucking rocks. Like in the books, Colin's not great. Penelope fucking rocks. I think that continues to kind of be the case in the show, except I also don't love show Penelope. I know, I don't. If they allow Penelope to grow the way she grows in the books, I think we're going to have an amazing season 3. If they can figure out how to unpuppify Colin, literally he's like a little puppy. Like he's just like a little puppy. There's nothing about him that feels sexy or sensual. And I'm not saying everyone needs to be that way. I just think that we need to reasonably feel like these two people have chemistry. And so far right now, I feel like Nicola, who plays Penelope, she could have chemistry, I think, with like a table. And I'm just not feeling it on the Colin side. So we'll see when season 3 comes out, how it goes. Episode 6. Episode 6 is the episode where I cry and then I cry and then I cry. Y'all are going to watch me cry on camera. You probably already saw me be deeply emotional in episode 4 review. I'm going to continue to be deeply emotional. There's nothing. I haven't cried. The way I cried at the end of this episode, I cried like someone died. And I watched this episode twice. I've watched it twice now. This is going to be my 3rd rewatch. I watched it the 2nd time with my husband, and he was crying harder than me. We both were complete messes. Like I looked over at him and he was just silently sobbing. And so I'm not really ready to do that on camera, but you know what, guys, for you, I will cry on camera. There were some issues with this episode. Those issues stem from the problems that we had in episode 5. So they're trying to resolve some of the things that happened in episode 5. Lady Danbury turning down Adolphus, Lady Danbury and Lord Ledger's relationship, some of the things happening in the present tense, like Lady Danbury and Lady Violet, that whole thing with the crown. I mean, they're just things to me that didn't really work, and they had to be resolved because they brought them up in episode 5. So there are things that don't work in this episode for sure, but by the end of this episode, when he says you didn't go over the wall. Okay, so I'm already crying. And that is just from my memory. So it's going to be really bad. This is going to be really fucking bad. So I'm going to stop crying. I'm going to start watching. And I will see you guys on the other side of episode 6. Okay?
Children together, I had a great love.
Sorry, I'm already emotional. It's got to be the liquor, right? I'm the first one to say that I am so excited for Violet to meet a new person and for her to move on. But it is, when I think about, like, you know, if you have any divorced parents or widowed parents, how hard it would be to start over, it does make me very emotional. And I'm so happy for her. But it's also like, I've watched this episode twice. Like I said, I'm already emotional. This is going to be terrible. I'm going to be crying the whole time.
One can find gardens in bloom.
I'm sorry. Agatha Danbury. How did this get here? The last time we saw it, she was wearing the hat, thinking about the best sex she ever had in her life, and then she just took it off and was like, I think I'm just going to leave it on the mantle behind all the other shit. Yeah, I think that's a really good place for it. This is so forced. This is so convenient. This is... whatever. We have so much more to watch in terms of this storyline, how it progresses, but like, I am not impressed with... Agatha would never have left this hat just randomly behind this mantle unless she got super drunk and masturbated to the thought of Lord Ledger, which maybe she did, but this is a crazy place she would have put that damn hat. Okay, guys, it's the scene. It's the I love you scene.
Do you hear me? I said go back to Buckingham House.
I'm just so proud of her. To hear his words but know what he is saying is stay with me. It's just really beautiful, and even though sometimes I get mad that a lot of Queen Charlotte's growth happens off the screen, I just think it's so beautiful that she wants to be there for her husband. She knows what she needs to do to be there for her husband, and that she's not going to take his rejection. I love that she doesn't take his rejection in this scene. She knows he is trying to protect her by sending her away, and she's done with it. And I love that. I just think it's so beautiful. And again, like I said, I am already about to cry, and we are not even 10 minutes in. So this is going to be a long ride, guys.
Get out! I order you!
No, George.
And that's exactly what he did in the first episode, and she turned away from him, and now she just sees right through his shit, and I love them so much.
Perhaps you stay away from me because you care for me. Perhaps you stay away because you love me.
This moment. So this scene in particular, if this scene is just like, if you don't read romance novels already and you are watching this and you're like just a complete mess and you feel like it's so beautiful, I urge you, I implore you. I feel like once this season I do a big old PSA to beg people to read romance, because it's just such a beautiful genre written by women for women, with women learning what they deserve, meeting other people, men, women, non-binary, everything, meeting people that are gonna love them no matter what. So this is my PSA for the season. If you don't already read romance, start. There are extraordinary writers. I've already mentioned Kennedy Ryan before, Penny Reed, Tessa Dare, Talia Hibbert, who are just phenomenal, and you will feel so moved. And I just feel like when I read romance, it teaches me more and more about what I want in terms of desire and what I want in terms of love. So anyways, that's my PSA for romance. Read it, and let's go back to the scene because it's so beautiful.
No one wishes
George!
that.
I will stand with you between the heavens and the earth. I will tell you where you are. Do you love me?
I love you!
And there it is. I mean, what is there left? I mean, this entire episode, it starts wrecking you from this moment, and then it continues to wreck you as we go. I can't. It's just an entirely beautiful moment. Beautiful writing, beautiful acting. Everyone's perfect. This is a culmination of everything that's been happening this season, just in terms of the writing and the acting and the themes and what everyone's going through. And it all comes back to, I love you. I'm going to work through this. We're going to work through this together. Fuck everybody involved. They are killing me.
From the moment I saw you trying to go over the...
When Corey starts to say from the moment and stops, and then has to come back and say it. An actor!
Your cloak makes a fine...
Here we go. With this storyline.
I felt joy.
Then I'm glad for you.
Guys, I love Coral. I love Coral. I hope this actress gets whatever she wants. I think she did so great. Obviously, Arsema did great. I feel like I've said how amazing Arsema is all season, but I have not given any props to the actress who was playing Coral, and I just think Coral is so fantastic and brought so much joy to my life every time she was on the screen. Him bringing his daughter to cockblock is disgusting work. Nasty work. A nasty man. Again, yes, I have flip-flopped. I've said, yes, go for it. Get with the man. Then I've said, no, he's married. Don't get with the man. I don't blame Lady Danbury for anything that's happened here. She is not the one who is married. Her husband has passed away. And I saw an interview with Arsema where she says Lady Danbury's angry at him. She's so furious right now that he would bring his daughter here to end the relationship in this way. It's a fucking coward's way out. And I am just... He disgusts me. Yes, I said I would hit it. But I have had relations with men that I'm disgusted by afterwards, okay? So I'm not the greatest judge of character. So don't come to me for good judgment.
Quite respected. What every lady dreams of.
Literally, I hate this man now. I hate this man. And then again, it's just Lady Danbury couldn't catch a break, right? She couldn't just have unimpeded fun sex. She couldn't just have a dead husband. Everything's a fucking struggle for her. I've complained ad nauseum already about her storyline, so if you need to see me complaining more about the plight of Lady Danbury and the plight of dark-skinned black women typically in media, go watch my overall review, but I am just so frustrated that her story, nothing can be easy for her. Not a damn thing. So we're about to watch the Queen Charlotte was a terrible mother scene. And I know I did have some people, I read some comments from my first video where people were like, hey, Miata, like back then, a queen wouldn't have mothered her own children. You know what I mean? She never would have been the one to, they would have had nannies, they would have caretakers. And while I do understand that, the show really doesn't talk about her being a bad mother in terms of her, you know, just having them being taken care of by nannies. The show really, in this scene in particular, really digs into the fact that her children think she's a terrible person. Not just a bad mom. I think they think she's a terrible human being. And I think that's why I have such a disconnect between what's happening in the present and what is happening in the past. Queen Charlotte in the past is so compassionate. She's compassionate towards Lady Danbury when Lady Danbury says, hey, I wasn't really your friend, but let's be friends now. She's compassionate towards, obviously, King George. And when we see her in the present, she's so deeply uncompassionate. And I've talked to people who are like, hey, I don't think we should have another season of Queen Charlotte. I think they did what they wanted to do. I completely agree that I think the love story is done. I think what we got between her and King George is done. I do think that there is some work they need to do in bridging the gap between what happened to Queen Charlotte in the past and the present. Yes, she could have been an absent mother, but the way they talk about her, it's more than absent. It is abusive almost. You know, the way she's trying to force them to do things, the way she doesn't listen to them, the way she doesn't know what goes on in their lives, the way she talks to them. And I've said this in my overall review, perhaps it is because she spent most of her adult life taking care of George, and she would have had no place in her time, in her heart, for her offspring. But I would need to see that to make that call. Otherwise, she just seems like an awful person to her kids. And while I understand that a woman wouldn't necessarily have taken care of her kids at this time, especially a queen, when you see someone like Violet Bridgerton being able to, and when you hear about the Princess Augusta being able to basically like be there for her son as much as she could, it doesn't quite work that Charlotte wouldn't have been able to have a relationship with any of her children.
After work in the fields, we are cycling millet. Would you like to join?
There's a war happening, George. The Americans are beating your ass. Go do some motherfucking work.
Is he not?
He is better now, but perhaps caution would be
Reynolds,
advisable.
let him be.
Be together, have a marriage, grow old as one. We would serve them together. A lifetime.
When is the last time we got a romantic scene between these two? It's been a few episodes, right? Because I've not talked about them being horny with each other for a while. Oh, we need more Reynolds and Brimsley. They were not served by this story.
Perhaps you could ask Her Majesty to intervene.
For fuck's sake, if you are friends, ask the Queen to intervene. 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 And at the end of all of this whole fucking episode, we get to the end and the Queen says, "Why didn't you ask for my help?" What a fucking waste of time. A waste of time. Everything that happens with Lady Danbury is a waste of time. I am so frustrated because as I've gone through and rewatched episodes 2 to 3 times, there is not a bit, not a piece, not a lick of anything that adds to the story that has anything to do with Lady Danbury. It is a waste of time because at the very end, all she had to do was ask. Instead, she does not ask. She suffers in silence. She suffers in multiple different ways in silence. And for what? I could have watched Lady Danbury be free all season. I could have watched this beautiful woman get rid of her nasty ass husband and be free for the next 3 episodes. And instead, I watched her not be free. I don't get it. I don't get it. If someone else, I'm heated right now. If someone else can explain to me why you think this works, let me know. Because what we see is not a good relationship with Charlotte. We don't see a good relationship between her and any other person. Besides for Coral, she does have a relationship with Coral, but she is just by and large fighting for her life all damn season, and it's a fucking shame.
That I am sure.
This is a speech to Parliament. I cannot do a fine job. I must be brilliant.
These are certainly the words of a brilliant man.
What I love about this scene in particular, it's something that I've called out before. What I really love about this scene is Charlotte is a child. She is 17, 18 years old. Her husband is having these terrible attacks, and she thinks love is just going to solve it. And she comes into the room. He is obviously stressed, and she's just like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Everything's great. And to me, it shows a sign of her immaturity, which I really appreciate because, again, she's very young. She shouldn't know everything yet. She shouldn't be able to fix everything. And I love that this scene is just her being like, meh. So what? You're talking to Parliament. Big deal. Like, just be happy. That is a sign of a child, and I really appreciate them showing that she doesn't know everything yet. So far throughout the series, she's had a lot of the answers, especially when it comes to George, but this is a place that they're going to have to grow together and figure out what to do together, and I appreciate them showing that she doesn't have all the answers yet.
Distraction.
Yes. I believe that I have just the distraction to help.
Do not need distraction.
Like, she comes in the room to have sex when this man is trying to prepare a speech for Parliament. This is a childish thing to do, and she is very young, and it makes perfect sense, and I really appreciate scenes like this, and I wish I said this before, if we just had another 2 episodes maybe, I wish we could have seen a more playful side of her. This is the first time she really gets to be playful all season, and it's because we've got to do so much in 6 episodes. So if I missed anything this season, and I missed some other things, but what I really miss for Charlotte is her being able to be a carefree young woman because she is a young woman.
All the time.
George, stop.
Charlotte.
Oh, the baby.
When this scene happened, I told my husband, it is just like a woman who's losing an argument to be like, you know what? I'm having a baby now. Like, I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, you know what? Babies do. Having the baby today. I made it happen. Because if there's one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to lose an argument with a man.
Are there any signs?
Of what, Mother?
When she said this, I was like, because how was a baby going to show signs? He was just born yesterday. What you think he's going to be like, the moon, Venus? Baby can't speak yet, honey.
He is our next king. Could he be anything but perfection?
He is perfection.
She's looking at her son when she says that, guys. I hope he understands that she's always thought he was perfect. I'm sure he doesn't. Our parents sometimes protect us from the world, but the ways that they protect us hurt us. And they think that they're helping, but they hurt us instead. And I just feel like she's trying to convey, I've always thought you were perfect. Because she loves her son. And she's always been trying to protect him, but she just hasn't known how.
Shame for you to lose the very fine estate in which you now reside.
Why would she feel comfortable crying in front of a woman who has degraded her all season, but she keeps it together around her best friend? And then we're about to watch this woman give her advice when she could simply get that advice and that help from Queen Charlotte. Arsema's doing beautiful work. I realized as I go back and I watch my reviews, I'm not saying much about Arsema's acting. Arsema's fantastic. Arsema's wonderful. I love watching her. But this character, I really sincerely hope at some point during the course of Bridgerton, and hopefully we have many, many seasons of that show because we have many children to go, that at some point Lady Danbury is able to have a life of her own that has nothing to do with the machinations of Bridgerton matchmaking.
Here and sob. You may not quit. Cover your bruises and endure. Do not lose control.
So the difference is, this woman was already established in the monarchy, and Lady Danbury has nothing. And she's telling her to lick her wounds and just be strong. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to just retread every bit of ground I've already retread in this, but this is disgusting. Black women deserve to be soft and be taken care of and be pampered, and Lady Danbury could have gotten all that, but the show's like, no, be an independent woman instead. Let Lady Danbury fuck and drink and have fun and love again. Let that happen. That's also independent. But she doesn't need to have to be strong and suffer the way this woman is saying. She's already done enough of it this season. Let's let her be free.
He never got out.
His Majesty could not get out of the carriage.
Well, what happened? What did you do? He seemed quite fine when he left
He was
here.
not fine.
I know Reynolds is not allowed to scream at the Queen. I don't think this ever could have happened in real life, but she needed this moment, and this is again what I said before, she needs moments of being able to grow up and being told that she's wrong and being told that she needs to think of things a different way. She needed Reynolds to say this. I love this moment. Again, don't yell at my Queen Charlotte, but Reynolds needed to say he was not fine. You had hope. The hope was false. It was just a hope. It was never going to help things, so that she and King George can figure out the next steps they need to take. The camera work. It's so simple. It's something that's so simple. It's not mind-blowing, but it is beautiful. And it is something that I have seen over the course of this season, different ways of using the cinematography in this season, and I'm just so appreciative of it. And again, I said this in my overall review, but I would love for Bridgerton to get a little bit more artsy. Why not?
Can you come out for me?
I want to, but I cannot. The heavens, they cannot find me under here.
I love that she asked him, George, can you come out for me? Very kindly, and him very kindly being like, I can't. And her being like, okay, let's have a conversation then. Under the bed, where the heavens can't find you. They've come to such an understanding and a truthfulness. They're being truthful with each other now. And it's just so wonderful. I'm so glad and so grateful we get to watch these two be together, be a team, and be as truthful with each other as they can over the rest of this episode.
You said you were just George.
Tears about to start again. Let's go.
Would you consider returning home with me as my wife?
Yes. Yes, this man is half Nigerian. A good Nigerian man. You are a good half Nigerian girl. Marry him and make good Nigerian babies. I'm Nigerian, I can say that. Just a quick montage of them making another baby. They don't want to do a bunch of scenes of them having random sex. Just a little montage of them making a little new baby.
Handsome man.
Yes.
And you would not have to worry about your future.
I love that Coral's come around. At first, Coral was like, wait, what happened to Lord Ledger? But now she's like, baby, you gonna be rich? You gonna be a princess? Let's go.
You and me.
He doesn't need, I mean, I know he understands, but he has a real ride or die. This woman knows that at any given time, this man could strip naked and start howling at the moon. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to be right by your side. A real woman. I love how she knew that they needed to dance first, right? It would have been terrible if they had tried to talk to the crowd first. That would have fallen apart. But her going on the dance floor, just saying it's just you and me, having him focus on her, a real ruler.
Must have an heir. Perhaps 2 or 3.
I know this is what scared her off. I guess it would scare me to have another kid knowing I could die in childbirth. So, like, honestly, when I think about the fact that she could, like, legitimately try to have a kid and die, yeah, that kind of makes it scary. But also in the United States, we die in childbirth all the time because, again, no great health care. We let our people die.
I have only ever wanted him to be happy.
He is happy.
You make him happy.
I love in this moment, she didn't back down. I've only ever wanted him to be happy. She's like, he is happy. I love in this moment, she didn't, the way she did with the portrait, she let this woman run all over her with that. And she's like, nope, not this time. And then this woman acquiescing and saying, it is you. I was wrong. I'm not sure I forgive her. I want to be clear. I know I've been very kind to her over the course of the season because she loves her son. Yes, but at the same time, she's been awful to this woman. Low-key, high-key racist. So I don't want to, I'm not saying let's, like, you know, shove all of that under the rug, but I do love this moment. I love that Queen Charlotte is coming into her own as the queen, and I love that this woman is understanding that this is now Queen Charlotte's role. She makes her son happy. She will be able to take care of her son. She can let go. They showed it playing I Will Always Love You. We're about to see the scene with Brimsley. Okay. I'm trying not to get demonetized because I can only play so much of I Will Always Love You without that money going away, but what happened? Where is he? And I think I mentioned in another review that there's a rumor going around that there was a scene of him, older Reynolds, that was filmed, or they were thinking about filming it and then they cut it. So I think he's still alive, but for them to, like, straight up end it, they finally maybe would get to be together, and then for that to just go away, unsatisfying. I need happiness for them. Fuck, we're about to watch him twirl by himself in the gardens. Let's watch that in a second, okay? Where is Reynolds? Justice for Reynolds. Hashtag justice for Reynolds. We gonna find him, okay? And they know we know all the words to that song. So they know we know that those last bit of strings are playing I Will Always Love You. Fuck this show.
Adolphus will survive. What concerns me is what I am to do with you.
This moment is truly when she is transitioning into queen. This is the way she would handle it as Golda, right? As older Queen Charlotte. How she came up to her, put in her little barbs, then said, how can I help you? She is fully stepping into who she is going to be. And again, I've said this again, what India is doing to bring in some of what Golda does is wonderful and beautiful.
And come to us with your concerns directly. To do otherwise would suggest we are incapable of addressing them. Unless that is what you believe.
I suppose the show thinks that it took this long for her to mature. I don't believe that. I think if she had come to her friend before, she would have figured out a way. But I'm glad it happened.
For a while.
There's no way women at this point in time were not drinking when they were pregnant. Let me just look it up. I'm positive they still drink when they're pregnant in places. Women still drink when they're pregnant. They have like a glass of wine. There's no way she was not fully going to gulp that glass and then gulp another.
But lately, I suppose I am feeling sentimental.
I don't know where this scene is going to lead into for the next season. this leaves it very brittle. I saw someone that I follow on Twitter say that they thought this scene was them two coming to an understanding and being like, you go girl. That's not how I read it at all. The end of this scene feels very brittle. It feels like their relationship has fractured. It feels like Lady Violet feels very betrayed, as she should. She feels at a loss. This is going to have to continue into, I don't know actually. I don't know if it's going to continue into season 3. I don't know if they incorporated this into that season already. I'm very interested to see where these two women's relationship goes after this moment. I will be pissed if this never comes up again. If we don't see any of this in season 3, this feels like a moment of two women who don't know quite how to bridge this. She doesn't quite know how to bridge this. She doesn't quite know what to do. I think they want to bridge the moment. I don't think she wants to be mad at Lady Danbury. I don't think she wants this to be an awkward moment. I think she would love to talk to her about what she was feeling. I think we're seeing two women who are just a little stuck right now. I don't see this as a moment of, you go girl, like I saw some folks say on Twitter. That he immediately wants to go find her under the bed before she even says Farmer George. And I want you guys to know this is not the first time she's had to do this. Please recognize that Prince Regent, her oldest son, his wife was pregnant. Every time she comes to see her husband, she probably has to find ways to bring him to her.
Your line will live on.
Our line.
And he just said that at the ball in the past. He said our line. Fuck every writer on this show, which I think is just like Shonda, one other person, and Julia Quinn. Like, fuck them, because they're destroying me.
You did not go over the wall.
No, George. I did not go over the wall.
Truly, it's fuck this show forever. It is. I will fight with any of them if I see them. Yeah. Okay. Everybody, we made it. Can you hear how stopped up I am? I'm trying. We made it. We watched it. It ends beautifully, as always. Like the first 2 times I watched it, it is a beautiful ending. And like I said at the top, I would not mind another season of the show. But I do understand why there are people who have said, I think this is good. I think I'm good here. I understand why Shonda has said she thinks she finished the story that she wanted to tell. I agree. This was a beautiful button to their story. Like I've said before, if anything, if I saw more Queen Charlotte, perhaps it would need to even be in the Violet spinoff, just so I could check up and see how they're doing. But I do, maybe now that I've watched the whole episode, I do feel like, and I've said this before, I don't really want to see more of them two together. I think their story was beautiful, and I think they did what they needed to do. And I think if they added more Queen Charlotte and King George story, I'm not sure they could make it any better. So I understand why maybe they don't want to do a full new season of just Queen Charlotte. That being said, I do want to see more young Queen Charlotte. I think India, again, like they said, is a rare jewel. I think India is phenomenal. I could watch her all day. I want more India as Queen Charlotte. I would love to see more Arsema as Lady Danbury if we were going to be able to see her live the full life. She is now a very independent older woman. I would love to see the life she lives to get to the place that she gets in the present with older Lady Danbury. And I think if Shonda is writing it, I think I would really love to see Violet with Edmund. I think it would be a beautiful story. I don't want to see him pass away. I do not want to see that part of the story. But if it's like this, where we just see their initial love story without seeing the tragic, I think I'd be very open to that as well, because Shonda has an amazing way of writing love stories. So overall, when I first watched the season, I think I gave it like a B plus. I think I keep it there. I think it's it's an excellent season. There are issues with the season, but not really big ones, guys. This is just really wonderful. So guys, I hope you enjoyed all of these videos. I'm excited to come back. Like I said at the top, I hope to bring on some friends to watch with me, and that'll just give these reviews, give these reactions a new flavor. As always, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in however long it takes for them to drop season 3 of Bridgerton. All right, bye.